Okay, Mike Masato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental and the Dental Road Warrior, returning from a long absence because I had to. It's been too long, and a lot of ideas piling up, a lot of good topics I want to talk about. Just been extremely busy, but I wanted to get back in the groove and doing a couple of these before the end of 2024. I hope it's been a great year in practice for you. But today I want to talk about staff, a common theme that's come up throughout the years as I've done them, and some of the things I'm going to talk about relate to this video. But we live in crazy times, as you haven't figured out, right, docs? If you're watching this, if you're a staff member watching this, in terms of hiring, recruiting, hiring, integrating new staff. It's just a whole different ballgame now since COVID, and it continues to get more challenging with people, the quality of people out there, number of people available in the workforce, retaining good people, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to talk about the number one factor that's going to drive people away from your practice and not have you retain staff, and that's basically how you choose to run and govern your practice, docs, because really one of the things I've heard so many times over and over from doctors behind closed doors and otherwise when I engage with them is, hey Mike, it's so hard to find good people, you know, and then we'll go in and we'll do the interviews and we'll meet the people they have and everything else, and, you know, do a whole report, and the doc wants to know what we found out and what we think of the team through observation, and I will say tongue-in-cheek, or my staff will say, Doc, you have a great team here, you just wrecked them. You know, they get upset and twisted. I'm half joking about the whole thing, but really the main factor right these days is really, if you're going to take the approach of running a practice, and I like to call that as a dental dictator, right? There's a system of government I always say you should install in your practice, the way your practice should run, and as an owner. And I always say it should be like a benevolent monarchy. It's really not a democracy, because we don't want the staff to be voting on things or patients to be voting on things, because ultimately it's your business, you call the shots. But it's got to be a benevolent monarchy. You are the king and the queen, or the queen of your practice, and you rule with all humility and understanding and grace. But ultimately the buck stops with you, and you make the final decision and everything, and it's your call. However, if you decide you want to treat your people like a dictator and rule with an iron fist, and have, you know, disregard for them as human beings to one degree or another, and how you give them orders and direct them and train them and set expectations from them, or if you set them up to win or set them up to fail. But if you run your day-to-day when you basically are making people wrong, and you're yelling and you're screaming and you're throwing things and attacking them and invalidating them and on and on, this you will never keep good people. And this is all from a blind spot that doctors have. You know, because we will talk to the staff and they will tell us, you know, what the problem is. And usually 9 out of 10 times, it's the doctor. It's not the staff. The staff are there. They come in there, and really all you have with staff is their willingness. Once you've lost that, you've lost everything. So if you hire people, then you hammer the hell out of them and beat them down into submission, you know, for what they're not good at, or, you know, they could be better at, or the mistakes they make, et cetera, et cetera. Guess what? They're never going to respond to that. You wouldn't respond to the way you talk to them or treat them either. And just because you have a DDS or at the end of your title there, or a doctor, a DR in front of you, doesn't give you the right to basically treat them like that. Because especially in these times with the way the labor laws are right now, I mean, they're one of the biggest pitfalls that practices are running into right now are labor law issues. You know, and it's like a Wild West show out there the way things are right now. You can get yourself into big trouble creating a hostile work environment, or how you go about engaging and interacting with staff. And they can say and make up all kinds of things, and they get an attorney, and then they come back to you and you wonder what happened here. And trust me, it doesn't take a lot to help them build a case the way their laws are. I'm not sure what state you're listening to this in, but I can tell you in the state of New Jersey or in New York, the labor laws are highly skewed in favor of employees, all right? And ultimately, you're going to lose out. And it's going to cost you personnel and potentially money if they want to pursue it for legal matters. But more so than that, you start getting a reputation. And we found out a lot of practices we can't hire for. We can't find out why people won't take these jobs, because the doctor's gotten a reputation in town or in the vicinity because they, the reputation precedes them. Oh, I don't want to work there. I know people that work there, and word gets around. And it shouldn't be that way. We should not need to be, and if we have to govern our practice like that and our team like that, Number one, you need to look at your leadership skills, your leadership qualities as a person, number one. And number two, look at the kind of people you're attracting and bringing into the practice, right? So there is a way to hire people effectively and recruit them and bring the right kind of people in and train them properly and integrate them properly, which is usually never done. Because really, most of the time we're looking at a resume and say, here, you got the job, good luck, hope it works out for you there, and we throw them to the wolves, and they're supposed to meet expectations and get the job done and be stellar superstars. Now, of course, at the minimum amount of money we want to pay them. That's the other twist there. And I've said many times, you get what you pay for. So I'm not saying just throwing a ton of money at a staff member is enough, right? Obviously, people of value will know their value and they'll ask for that kind of money, all right? And if you put them on the job, there's still going to be the matter of, how is your communication with them in terms of setting expectations and training and giving them a job description and tracking what they do and how they report to you and support you. And that's generated by how you are, right? And if you feel like after you hire people that you have to constantly step in to do their job all the time because the job that they're doing is not sufficient, that's not on them. That's on you for various reasons. Either you brought the wrong kind of person, you didn't train them properly, or you have a problem with letting go of control and power. And this is what the difficulty is. As an owner of a dental practice, you're the CEO of your company, but you're also on the production lines doing dentistry every single day. So you have to do production. So at some point, you have to be okay with, maybe willing to allow people to just do their thing, do the job, and hopefully do it right for you. And if they don't, there's a way to correct them. There's a way to bring them up to speed and develop them. But I can tell you all the best teams that I've worked with, the doctors understand the value of investing in leadership training for themselves and getting better at looking at their blind spots and improving themselves as individuals, and also investing in the team to train and develop them. We'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in continuing education for clinical or pieces of equipment or upgrading the office and all these different things, and yet I'll meet these teams and they're just not taken care of and they're just treated badly. And by the way, the doctor decides to govern the practice, right? So you think about this. It's not always what you do, it's how you do it. It's how you say it, it's how you act, it's how you behave. You set the tone in your practice for everything, right? So if you're coming in a bad mood and negative all the time and you want to unload and take everything out on your team, they're not your punching bags. You're going to pay the price for that, right? If you allow staff into your environment that do to other people, which is creating an environment of gossip and antagonism and conflict and drama, guess what? That's going to come back to losing people as well too. So sometimes the best people you have are already under your own roof. Take a look at how you're being about what you're doing. And I've said this hundreds of times in my coaching. It's who you're being about what you're doing that makes the biggest difference. And when it comes down to leadership, right, and running the show in your practice, right? It's how you choose to be, right? And how you go, so goes the practice. So take this to heart, and maybe this is the blind spot you may have to be holding you back, the way you're running things and doing things in your practice. But the dental dictator, being a tyrant in your own practice, will not work. And I can tell you, and I've been down the road with clients where it takes months to find people. And every time it takes months to find people, it's because we have a doctor that's been challenging with their own selves, the way they are as leaders and owners in the practice. So hopefully this is a little bit of an awareness video, and maybe it struck a nerve. Maybe you'll take a look at yourself, maybe reassess, take a step back, because ultimately if you can change yourself for the better, guess what? Your whole environment around you gets better, and then you start attracting better people. All right, thanks for watching these videos. Looking forward to the next one, and please share it with people you know that could benefit from watching them as well.